What's up, people? My god, I always angle it wrong. Anyway, fuck it. Fuck it, bro. Anyway, I am back for another video. I am going to be reviewing Die Hard with a Vengeance. This is a video I was going to do yesterday, but something came up. So I'm going to do it today. And then the bands I love videos, I'll try to do this weekend if I can get some time. But definitely had to get this one out because this Die Hard, in my opinion, after the first one, is the second best. This, a lot of people's eyes, some people even argue the best one. I disagree. I like this film, but that first Die Hard was so good. But this one is really good, though. The dynamic between McClane and Sam Jackson's character Zeus is fucking phenomenal. It's one of those cases where it's like immediate chemistry. It is like, I would, low-key, I wouldn't have minded if they did another movie with them two. But for me, honestly, I feel like 3 should have been it. I don't hate the fourth one. I definitely hate the fifth one, but I don't hate the fourth one. I will review that one next week. But I definitely do think they could have just stopped at the third one. I think it really does work as a trilogy. I don't really see why you needed a fourth one, even though it was okay. I was okay. Like I said, I was okay with the second one largely in my last review, but definitely this one does fix something from that one. Had a way better villain. Jeremy Irons' Simon was really good, really simple. They do go a little bit back to that simplicity. I also like I like that they go to New York, John's home, because they did the first one in L.A., and I think they kind of did. There's parts of the second one in L.A., but I like that they're like, we're going to do this one in New York. I really like that setting. I like the whole Simon Says phone call stuff. I thought he was, especially in that like first 30, 40 minutes, you don't see Simon. You hear him, and you know it's Jeremy Irons, but you don't see him. I really like that aspect about the film. I really do think this should have been it, though. I think this works as a conclusion to a trilogy. I don't hate the fourth one. I'm going to reiterate. I think the fourth one was okay from what I remember. I haven't watched it. Sorry about that. I haven't watched it since it came out. But I remember thinking it was okay. But I do just something, the way this one ends, especially after rewatching it, I really think this one like ends it, kind of. So I think this should have been it. So as usual, fucking helicopter. Sorry about that. As usual, I'm gonna cheers to end the video, or to start the review. Anyway, I'm just getting the stem out. Anyway, so this film opens up normal New York day. You get like a nice like opening like cinematography of like the landscape of New York, which I thought this film did a really good job of capturing. And sorry. Anyway, I like how like they open it because it's like very just normal. Like you see the New York people just living their normal lives. Like you see the cars going, the taxis going, people are walking, and then all of a sudden, boom, the Broward Teller department store in New York City ends up blowing up. Like a really nice little way to open it. And then we go to the LA, in New York, the NYPD building where they get a call from Simon, and he basically says you got to get McClane out of retirement and put him in Harlem wearing a sandwich board with a racial slur on it. Really, like, funny little opening. We're reintroduced to John McClane. You know, he's like, you could tell his life's not in the best. He was suspended and stuff like that. So they take him to Harlem. He puts the sandwich board on him. And I actually really love this funny little opening. We're introduced to Zeus Carver, which is Sam Jackson's character. This was like a year after Pulp Fiction. So this was when, after Pulp Fiction, I mean, yeah, a little bit before that, but definitely after Pulp Fiction, Sam Jackson was like in everything. Like, because he was in this year in 95, and then I think in 96 he did Long Kiss Goodnight. Then he did something else after that. Like, he did a bunch of shit in that late night, like that for the rest of the 90s, pretty much. So, really loved him in this movie. You know, I love the little race jokes they play on each other, you know, about like, you don't trust no white man and all this shit. Then he see the kids who you see are talking to Zeus. He's about to send them to school, and they see McClane standing there with an "I hate N-words," um, N-words thing on his billboard. Then Sam Jackson tries to like stop it, um, and he's trying to like, and then they get attacked by some group of black guys. You know, you have this funny little back and forth. One of them even like cuts him because they were angered by the sandwich board, obviously. So Carver and McClane managed to escape in a taxi. Back at NYPD headquarters, they hear about the large, by the liquid that you see throughout the film, which sets up the bombs. Which I just those little things like that, and then when Simon calls back and basically tells them that they have to answer a call at a payphone, and they have to follow his instructions. And I love those little moments in the film where he's like calling them. And like I say, the first 40 minutes or so, 30, 40, I would give, he's not in it, really. Like, you don't see him. You hear him, like, obviously you hear his voice, but you don't see him. And I think that was a nice little touch. Because like I said, the only real weak point of the second one, sorry, is the villain. I thought the villain was pretty weak. And because how strong we started with Hans Gruber, and then to go in the second one where the villain was just was just there. But in this, Simon did a really good job. I like the little fucking games he's playing with them. So he orders Carver and McClane to go to the train station, because they gotta try to stop an explosive. So they manage to get there. You get some like funny back and forth between the two. They manage. So Carver ends up waiting at the payphone for the call while McClane's on the train trying to stop the bomb. He manages to find the bomb, but it still ends up blowing up. But he throws it out of the train. So you get an awesome like destruction, like kind of explosion scene, which I'll admit was done really well. This film is just back to basics. I think that's why it's so good. And also John McTiernan directed it again, so he came back to do this one. So, don't get me wrong, I didn't mind Rennie Harlan, and I liked some of his stuff, but it was cool getting McTiernan to come back. That is why. Also, I feel like this should have been it. I think you have the original director to come back for the third one. I don't know. So the train stations ended up damaged. McClane and Carver regroup with the police, and I guess the FBI this time, and then they get a call from Simon, and this is also where it's revealed that he's Hans Gruber's brother. So I like that little twist where they finally reveal it. They don't reveal it initially. So Simon calls them and basically tells them that about a bomb in a New York public school, and that basically if any of the cops get involved, that it will go off at any time, and they can't evacuate the kids, I really think they did a good job with Simon in this, especially the scenes where he's just on the phone. He's not even doing anything. He's just on the phone. And I think, especially in this, Jeremy Irons, I love. He's my favorite Alfred. But I really love his voice in this is it's eerie in a way. Because it's like, because he doesn't seem evil, but then just there's something about him that's a bit unsettling at the same time in this movie. So he basically tells McClane and Carver have to go to they have to follow his riddles throughout that's basically what it is. They got to follow the riddles until they find him out. And he basically the police are distracted with the bomb thing, and this is where it's revealed that it turns out we see a bunch of dump trucks, and this is where it's revealed that Simon, he just simply is he's a jewel, not a jewel thief, but he's just simply a thief. They're trying to do a heist at the Federal Reserve Bank, and they're using the bomb at the school basically as a distraction. Really smart, and really like kind of like similar to the first one, where they make it seem like Hans Gruber is this bad guy, I mean, he's this terrorist, but it turns out no, he's just a simple thief. He just wants money, and they just they're posing as terrorists. And I think the same thing here, and it works. So basically, while McClane and Carver and the police are distracted, he goes to the Federal Reserve. They end up taking a lot of the gold. They load a bunch of them on dump trucks, and then McClane and Carver end up stopping at a bomb in a park, and they end up stopping it just in time. But then this is where McClane realizes that they're being played, and then McClane notices a bunch of trucks going to a certain tunnel. So they follow. More hijinks ensues. I fucking love this movie. The dynamic between McClane and Carver is really good. Like, I really love the two. The banter back and forth, the little race jokes they throw at each other. It fucking works. And it's crazy because this character was just introduced this movie, and it just works. And to be fair, it's Samuel L. Jackson, so of course it's gonna work. But so they end up following. I think because they also are told to go to the baseball field. So Carver goes there while McClane goes to follow the trucks. He ends up killing a few crew members of the dump trucks. Takes one of them. Simon blows up. He blows up the dam because he's trying to flood McClane, but McClane obviously makes it out. And then so Carver and McClane meet up again. Then we get this badass chase where the bad guys are just following in a car and just shooting them. And I love how they're just in the middle of traffic when this is all happening. Like, this isn't just a shootout where it's an empty road, it's just those two cars. No, they're in the middle of, like, traffic. I really love that. I like that little detail. So obviously they are managed to evade, and so while this is happening, they find the school. The police find the school where the bomb is, and they seemingly take it down. So they follow Carver, and McClane follow them on the boat, but Carver gets himself captured because he didn't realize his gun was on safety, so he gets captured. McClane gets beat up, basically captured too. And this is where, because he's trying to find Simone, and they find the where Carver was taken, and nobody's there. And then obviously they show up, and this is where Simon reveals, because while this is happening, they're at the school trying to stop the bomb, but it turns out that it wasn't a real bomb, in that the bomb is on the boat. and that they were just doing this just to steal gold. It was a nice distraction. That's the other thing. I think that was what I mentioned. Obviously, besides like the presence, I felt like the bad guy in two just was they're terrorists and that's it. There was no real motive really for them. They were just terrorists, which it was fine for that movie, I guess. But I just feel like because this franchise already, especially with the first one, it already set the precedent for having strong bad guys, and I just felt like in the second one we get this generic terrorist guy. So that's why I like in this that they kind of bring it back and give you a bad guy with presence, but also isn't just a generic terrorist. And also, I like that they kind of flip it on its head because they make it seem like he wants revenge for his brother's death, but no, not really. Like you clearly can tell even in the movie he doesn't really care about his brother that much. So the bad guys tie up Carver and McClane to the real bomb. McClane manages to get himself out. He frees Carver, but the boat ends up blowing up. Also, um, Simon seemingly gets away with the woman he was with, played by as Katya. She's the only real weak part. The part where she kills the guard though with the knife was pretty brutal, but she doesn't really have any dialogue. Really, she's just kind of there. She's just there to look tough. I mean, and I know the actress they had her who played her in this is a musician, so maybe they just didn't feel like she was ready because she really didn't have any dialogue. I think that's the only downside. Like she was just there, kind of, you know. So Simon and Katya seemingly escape, and Carter's tries not Carter. I said Carter, wrong franchise. McClane is about to call Holly, but then he realized because he asks for aspirin because he has been having a headache all day. So he asks for aspirin from Simon. Simon gives it to him, but they escape. He notices the aspirin has a location, which is in the border in Canada or Quebec, because that's some truck stop in Canada. So, Simon and his fellow bad guys celebrate because they seemingly escaped and all that with the gold, but then they all rush in, and Simon the rest of Simon's men are captured while Simon and Katya try to escape on a helicopter. McClane shoots like I think like a light fixture or something or a power line, and it causes the helicopter to crash, and then you get some bit of banter between Carver and McClane, and then McClane calls Holly. So this film is awesome. I think this should have been it. I don't. I'm reiterate. Don't hate the fourth one, but I really feel like this kind of ends it. It wraps it perfectly. It works as a trilogy. There's really nothing wrong with this film, besides Katya. I think you could have written her out of the movie. She was just kind of there, but it is what it is. That's like a minor thing. Overall, this film is awesome. I think it's easily the second best in the franchise after the first one. It brings it back to that simplicity of the first one. You have a good bad guy with Simon. Not over the top. He's not generic either. Um, I really like the music. I like the New York setting. Car- Carver and McClane's chemistry was fucking great. And if they were gonna do a fourth one, I wouldn't have minded if they did one like 2 years later, and it was him and Carver become like partners or something. I would have been okay with that. But I really love this movie. It's good having a bad guy with presence again. Obviously, he's not Hans Gruber, but man, I also like the misdirection they give you a few times. Like that the bomb wasn't at the school. That was just was a fucking ploy just to distract the police. It makes Simon really fucking smart in that he planned this out. I like that he played on his, wanting revenge on his brother, even though realistically he didn't. You clearly could tell he didn't give a fuck about his brother, but he used it as a thing to get into McClane's head. It's about, even McClane says himself, it's not about revenge. He just wants money. He's just using it. And I think that's what the bad guys of this franchise have shown to do. They're not just generic bad guys. Because even in the first one, Hans Gruber is not generic. I just think the bad guy in the second one's kind of generic. But like, I like that they go back to a strong bad guy. I also like that they only really use a few set pieces. Yes, there's a bigger set piece because there's a few, but they do kind of like, especially in the last bit, they keep it relegated to there's a school, there's the bank, there's some part of the city and stuff like that, but they keep it to certain places for the most part. Um, I love the moments where Carver and McClane have to try to reach to get to the payphone. I love those moments. Just those little moments in the film. So all around, this is a phenomenal film. I would give this film a 9 out of 10, 9.5, honestly. I think this is the second best in the franchise. And in my head, it kind of ends it. Live Free or Die Hard's kind of a spin-off. Like, it's an unofficial fourth one. But the main Die Hard movies to me are the first three. And then the fourth one is like an add-on that just is more of an unofficial fourth one, but yeah. But I love this film. I advise everybody should watch it. If you haven't seen it, so I got two more Die Hards to do. I will do Die Hard 4 on Monday. But this weekend, I'll see if I can get up. I think I can. I probably won't do both. I'll probably do one of them. I think we'll do the Bands I Love on Papa Roach either tomorrow or Sunday. But yeah, definitely a 9 out of 10. But as usual, I'm going to cheers to this film. But other than that, fuck Warner Brothers, fuck Disney, fuck LeBron, fuck Kevin Smith, and last but not least, fuck Joe Biden. Go watch this movie. I'm going to cheers one more time and then peace out. But other than that, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace!